Older men often develop a deeper understanding of human interaction simply through experience. Over time, they notice the nuances of how words and gestures affect connection and attraction. The two words they frequently use to resonate with women are subtle yet powerful, rooted not in superficial charm but in emotional resonance and validation. Words like understand or appreciate carry a weight of life experience that signals wisdom and attentiveness. When spoken genuinely, these words suggest that the speaker is tuned into more than just appearances or fleeting conversation. They are paying attention to the other person's feelings, perspectives, and individuality. Women are often drawn to this because it conveys emotional safety, a sense of being seen and acknowledged in a meaningful way, which is far more compelling than charm alone. This is not about manipulation, it is about reflecting an awareness that comes from lived experience, a way of communicating that what someone thinks and feels truly matters. These words also function as anchors in social interactions, signaling competence in emotional understanding. Older men who consistently use terms that convey attention and validation demonstrate patience, thoughtfulness, and the capacity to listen deeply. Words such as notice or value are not just polite gestures. They communicate that the woman's presence and qualities are recognized and appreciated beyond surface-level observation. This subtle acknowledgement builds a sense of trust over time, which is often more attractive than excitement or novelty. When a person feels consistently seen and validated, a psychological bond forms, rooted in the recognition of shared humanity and respect. This makes the interaction feel emotionally rich, not transactional, and allows women to relax into the conversation without feeling judged or pressured, fostering a natural sense of connection that is hard to replicate with charm alone. The impact of these words is amplified when paired with genuine emotional intelligence. Unlike younger men who may rely on energy, humor, or physical appeal, older men attract through reflection and insight. Their choice of words often demonstrates an understanding of life's complexities and human relationships, signaling maturity and reliability. When someone uses language that conveys insight and appreciation for another's experience, it shows that they are capable of deeper, emotionally stable connections. Women interpret this as a sign that the person is experienced not only in life but in relationships, capable of offering consistency and empathy. The subtlety of these words, when used naturally, communicates that emotional awareness and attentiveness are habitual traits rather than occasional efforts to impress. Over time, this pattern of communication builds a foundation of trust, emotional security, and attraction that resonates on a profound level. The words older men use in conversation often serve as subtle markers of emotional competence. When a man chooses words that highlight attentiveness and acknowledgement, it communicates a capacity to truly see another person. Words such as notice or value go beyond casual politeness. They signal that the other person is being observed in a meaningful way. Women often respond positively to this because it conveys emotional attunement and validation, qualities that foster a sense of trust and connection. These words are not just about admiration. They are about creating a psychological environment where someone feels recognized for who they are, not just for what they do or how they look. This ability to communicate recognition is especially potent for older men who have had more time to refine their understanding of human behavior and emotional cues. By using language that conveys insight into another person's feelings and contributions, They establish a foundation of emotional intimacy that transcends superficial attraction and encourages deeper relational bonds. When older men use these words, they demonstrate patience and the capacity for sustained attention in conversation. Unlike interactions driven by impulsive charm or fleeting excitement, the consistent use of language that conveys acknowledgement and appreciation signals emotional maturity. It shows that the speaker is willing to invest effort into noticing subtleties, understanding perspectives, and honoring the other person's individuality. This creates a powerful effect as it allows women to feel secure and validated in the interaction. Over time, repeated recognition becomes a form of silent communication, building rapport and trust without needing to explicitly state intentions. Women are naturally drawn to individuals who make them feel seen and understood, and these words act as concise vessels for conveying that understanding. The emotional impact is subtle but profound, fostering attraction through connection rather than performance or pretense. Language that emphasizes acknowledgement also conveys relational reliability. Words like notice and value are signals that the speaker appreciates not only visible traits, but also the experiences, emotions, and perspectives of the other person. This subtle attention communicates that the speaker is capable of empathetic engagement and respectful connection. Older men who use these words consistently are essentially demonstrating a habit of mindfulness and relational awareness. Women often interpret this as a sign of stability, wisdom, and authenticity, which are qualities that build lasting emotional resonance. Furthermore, when such words are used naturally and without exaggeration, they align with the broader behavioral pattern of the person, reinforcing credibility. In essence, the strategic yet authentic use of language becomes a way to cultivate connection, trust, and attraction in a manner that feels effortless but deeply meaningful, highlighting the power of words as instruments of emotional influence. Language reflecting emotional intelligence is one of the most powerful tools older men use to connect with women. While youth may rely on energy, humor, or physical charm, older men often attract through reflection, thoughtfulness, and a demonstrated understanding of human behavior. Choosing words that express insight into life experiences or the subtleties of relationships communicates depth, maturity, and reliability. When a man says words like understand or appreciate in the right context, he signals that he has navigated the complexities of life and relationships and is capable of providing emotional stability. Women often interpret these words as markers of trustworthiness and wisdom, which creates a sense of safety and respect. The power of such language lies in its ability to convey awareness without overwhelming the conversation or appearing performative. It is subtle, yet it communicates that the speaker is attuned not only to the surface of life, but also to its emotional undercurrents. The use of emotionally intelligent language allows older men to foster meaningful connections beyond casual interaction. Women are drawn to expressions that reflect patience, empathy, and attentiveness. Words that indicate understanding or appreciation communicate that the speaker values more than appearances or fleeting moments. They value the person's experiences, thoughts, and feelings. This creates a psychological environment where women feel recognized, validated, and emotionally supported. Older men often employ these words naturally as a reflection of their habitual awareness of social and emotional dynamics. Over time, repeated use of such language helps to build trust and rapport, allowing relationships to develop with greater depth and authenticity. The emotional resonance generated through thoughtful word choice becomes more compelling than charm or flirtation alone. What makes this language especially effective is its consistency and alignment with behavior. Women are sensitive to discrepancies between what someone says and how they act, and emotionally intelligent words carry credibility only when they are supported by genuine attentiveness and care. Older men who integrate language of understanding and appreciation into regular conversation demonstrate that these qualities are not occasional gestures, but part of their character. This consistency fosters a sense of reliability, which strengthens attraction over time. The subtle use of words like understand and appreciate signals emotional maturity, relational depth, and the ability to create psychological safety. Through these words, older men communicate more than interest. They convey a capacity for meaningful connection, trust, and emotional resonance, which are universally attractive qualities that transcend age. The words older men choose to use often function as subtle forms of emotional validation, a key component in fostering genuine connection. Emotional validation is the process of acknowledging and respecting another person's feelings, thoughts, and experiences, and it creates a powerful sense of being understood. When older men say words like understand or appreciate, they are not merely expressing politeness. They are signaling that the other person's emotions and contributions are recognized and valued. Women naturally respond to this because validation communicates emotional safety, trustworthiness, and attentiveness. By consistently offering recognition through carefully chosen language, older men create a space where women feel psychologically supported. This is essential for deep connection as it encourages openness, vulnerability, and mutual respect. These words carry more weight than superficial compliments because they reflect experience and emotional awareness, allowing interactions to move beyond surface-level engagement and into meaningful dialogue. The consistent use of validation in conversation strengthens relational bonds over time. Occasional acknowledgement may feel fleeting, but when language is used habitually to recognize another person's worth, it signals authenticity and reliability. Women intuitively notice when their experiences and emotions are genuinely respected, and this creates a sense of trust that is deeply attractive. Words that convey appreciation or understanding act as small but potent indicators that the speaker is capable of empathy, patience, and attentiveness. Older men who have navigated relationships and interpersonal dynamics for years often intuitively incorporate these words into conversation. Their use reflects both awareness and respect for the other person's individuality, creating interactions that are emotionally rich, engaging, and comforting. This subtle, thoughtful language often feels more meaningful than grand gestures, as it demonstrates that the speaker is attuned to the deeper aspects of human connection. Validation through language also reinforces credibility and relational integrity. Words like notice or value are not effective in isolation. They must align with genuine behavior. Women are sensitive to inconsistency between what someone says and how they act, and when these words are paired with sincere attentiveness, they signal emotional maturity and reliability. Older men who consistently validate others in conversation demonstrate that they prioritize understanding and respect, qualities that build enduring attraction. The psychological impact of this approach lies in creating a secure and supportive environment where women feel safe to express themselves. Through thoughtful and consistent use of emotionally validating words, older men convey not only interest but also the capacity for meaningful connection, trust, and mutual respect, forming the foundation for relationships that are both fulfilling and emotionally resonant. The effectiveness of the words older men use is significantly enhanced when combined with nonverbal communication. Tone, facial expression, and timing work together with carefully chosen language to convey sincerity and attentiveness. A word like understand or appreciate, spoken with a reflective, calm tone or accompanied by gentle eye contact, communicates authenticity far more powerfully than the words alone. Nonverbal cues serve as proof that the emotion behind the language is genuine. Older men often unconsciously pair their verbal expressions with congruent behavior, demonstrating that they are aligned in thought, feeling, and action. This congruence strengthens the perception of emotional reliability and trustworthiness. Women are highly sensitive to these subtle cues, often responding more strongly to the combination of language and body language than to either in isolation. The integration of verbal and nonverbal signals allows older men to communicate emotional depth in a way that feels natural, effortless, and meaningful. Nonverbal reinforcement also allows for a more nuanced delivery of emotional support. The words themselves carry meaning, but when they are expressed alongside attentive posture, thoughtful pauses, or gentle gestures, they create an immersive experience of being heard and understood. Women intuitively recognize these patterns, interpreting them as evidence of empathy and emotional competence. This subtle yet powerful alignment between speech and action cultivates a sense of psychological safety, encouraging openness and vulnerability. Older men who have refined this skill over time can convey genuine care without needing to overstate their intentions, allowing connections to form organically. The combination of precise language and supportive nonverbal behavior communicates not only attention and validation, but also respect and reliability, which are universally attractive qualities that foster long-lasting rapport. Furthermore, the effectiveness of these words and cues lies in their ability to reinforce emotional trust. When words of understanding or appreciation are consistently supported by congruent actions, women perceive the speaker as dependable, grounded, and emotionally attuned. This alignment between verbal and nonverbal communication becomes a marker of integrity, showing that the man's interest in connection is sincere rather than performative. Older men who master this integration convey emotional intelligence through subtle, authentic means. By harmonizing language with body language, they create interactions that feel safe, respectful, and engaging. These moments, although seemingly small, accumulate over time to foster a strong sense of connection, demonstrating that attraction rooted in attentiveness, empathy, and alignment is far more enduring than superficial gestures or charm. The strategic use of language by older men is not about charm or superficial appeal. It is about creating a sense of psychological safety. Women are naturally drawn to individuals who make them feel understood, respected, and emotionally secure. Words like understand or appreciate convey a subtle message that the speaker is attentive, empathetic, and capable of nurturing meaningful interactions. These words act as gentle invitations for openness, signaling that the conversation is a safe space to express thoughts and feelings without judgment or pressure. Emotional safety is foundational in any relationship, And older men often recognize that authentic connection grows when someone feels truly seen and acknowledged. By carefully choosing words that emphasize attentiveness and empathy, they communicate reliability and care, which are far more compelling than charm or superficial gestures alone. The intentional use of language in this manner reflects emotional intelligence and relational maturity. When older men employ these words consistently, they foster an environment that encourages vulnerability and trust. Emotional openness is more likely to emerge when women sense that their thoughts and feelings are genuinely valued. Words of understanding and appreciation act as subtle reinforcements that demonstrate attentiveness without demanding reciprocation. This approach allows connections to deepen naturally, as women feel safe to share perspectives and experiences that might otherwise remain private. Over time, these small but consistent linguistic choices build a pattern of communication that signals integrity and relational competence. Women often respond to this not because of the words themselves, but because they are embedded within a context of genuine attention and care. The words become symbols of reliability, empathy, and emotional attunement, qualities that are universally attractive. Additionally, the power of these words lies in their ability to convey stability and respect in a non-intrusive way. Unlike flashy or performative expressions of interest, language that emphasizes understanding communicates patience and presence. It signals that the speaker is willing to engage in meaningful interaction and is capable of sustaining it over time. Women recognize this subtle demonstration of character, interpreting it as a marker of authenticity and emotional maturity. By integrating language that fosters psychological safety into everyday interactions, older men create an atmosphere of trust and comfort. This consistent attentiveness and respect encourage connection and allow attraction to develop organically. In this way, the intentional, thoughtful use of words becomes a powerful tool for building relationships grounded in emotional security, empathy, and genuine connection. Consistency is a critical factor in the effectiveness of the words older men use to attract women. Occasional use of words like understand or appreciate may feel superficial or performative if it is not supported by genuine behavior. Women are naturally attuned to congruence between what someone says and how they act, and inconsistent communication can quickly undermine trust. When older men embed these words into habitual patterns of conversation, they signal authenticity and integrity. This consistency demonstrates that the qualities being expressed, attentiveness, empathy, and validation, are not temporary gestures but genuine reflections of character. Over time, repeated, thoughtful use of language builds credibility, allowing women to perceive the speaker as reliable, emotionally intelligent, and capable of meaningful connection. This alignment between words and behavior is a subtle yet powerful way to foster trust and long-lasting attraction. Consistency in language also fosters emotional security and deepens relational bonds. When women experience repeated acknowledgement and validation through carefully chosen words, they begin to feel safe in expressing themselves fully. The psychological impact of this is profound. It encourages openness and vulnerability, allowing interactions to move beyond superficial conversation. Words like notice and value, when used consistently, communicate that the speaker sees and appreciates the other person's experiences, qualities, and feelings. Older men who integrate these words naturally into everyday dialogue show that they genuinely prioritize understanding and respect, which creates a foundation for connection built on trust rather than fleeting interest. The subtle power of consistency lies in its ability to transform small expressions into enduring markers of character that resonate deeply over time. Moreover, consistent language reinforces the perception of maturity and reliability. Women interpret repeated, authentic expressions of understanding or appreciation as evidence that the speaker is capable of maintaining stable and emotionally attuned relationships. This habitual use of validating language demonstrates that attentiveness and care are ingrained habits, not occasional efforts to impress. The result is a sense of predictability and security, which is highly attractive in both short-term and long-term relational contexts. Older men who master this consistency create an environment where meaningful connection can flourish, fostering mutual respect, psychological safety, and trust. In this way, the words themselves, supported by regular and authentic use, become more than communication. They become a reflection of integrity, relational intelligence, and enduring emotional resonance. The ultimate power of the words older men use lies in their ability to